Due to the subject matter, this video discusses political violence, reactionary propaganda, as well as historic and modern tragedies. If those things upset you, all the more reason to watch it.
Whenever the efficacy and ethicality of forceful community defense is up for discussion, you inevitably get at least one person piping up with something incredibly dumb like Antifa are the real fascists, or Antifa are actually terrorists. That's incorrect, but unfortunately, the most common response to that sort of line is something akin to, actually, Antifa isn't one organization. It's a model for community defense. Everyone who is opposed to neo-Nazis and the rest of the far right is an anti-fascist. That statement isn't just also wrong, it doesn't even make for good optics.
Hello there, my name's Card. I'm a proudly militant progressive community activist and have been for about 7 years. Today, I'd like to correct the record in regard to a sentiment I see shared by far too many on the left. Broadly speaking, Antifa is a thing.
A thing that you can, and dare I say should, get involved with. Because just holding nominally left-wing views, or maybe posting online about them from time to time, is not anti-fascist action. I'm not making this video officially on behalf of any one specific group, but I will say, go out and at least take a look at your nearest org that actually does something practical and isn't just a book club or a glorified social circle. Realistically speaking, every major city, plus far more small towns than you might first assume, will have some sort of active left-wing organization. I can't speak for the whole world, but if you're in the West and watching this, your state, province, or regional capital at least will definitely have a proper anti-fascist presence. Your main takeaway from this video should be that there is some avenue towards you getting involved locally in some capacity. Anyone calling themselves a leftist ought to know that pushing actual left-wing politics is more than just having progressive opinions and voting every once in a while. It needs to be stressed that anti-fascism isn't just an ideological position. It's a line of action, one that you see performed practically in various forms as community defense, mutual aid, and other stuff I probably wouldn't be allowed to explicitly advocate on YouTube. But you actually need to do it. It doesn't just happen because you think it sounds like a good idea in the abstract. When such a slim percentage of the population is politically active to begin with, and so few of those people radically left, and of those few, a minority are actually getting mobile and involved, we're facing all the more of an uphill battle from the get-go here. Good things would be significantly easier to accomplish if we had more people helping. The same goes for any kind of activism, and just about any kind of project at all. In any org, for every person doing the stereotypical Antifa protester thing of showing up at public events in the black hoodie and the face mask, you've got at least one person doing support logistics behind the scenes, one person serving as street medic, one person wrangling up transport to and fro, plenty of people coordinating boots on the ground action, overtly or otherwise, people making and distributing anti-fascist media of every conceivable type, and even people just keeping organizing spaces neat and stocked up with everything you need. There's a place in these sorts of orgs for everyone who wants to help. Plenty of what a functioning Antifa cell does actually looks pretty benign, although that certainly doesn't diminish the importance of it at all. On a day-to-day basis, that sort of stuff can look like everything from simply having another set of eyes and ears out there to help remove fascist propaganda from the community, to lending a hand to help maintain databases and lists of who needs to know what. Effective anti-fascism isn't just uncoordinated individuals acting on their own because they think there's no real-world way to collaborate productively with others. At any given time, there's a lot of very important stuff of all sorts going on in the world of applied militant progressivism, most of which isn't public facing, of course. When anything happens, it doesn't happen spontaneously. It was planned. People planned it and knew about it and worked together to make it happen. This is all the more true the bigger and louder and more complicated whatever that thing is. And you can get some pretty big, loud, complicated things done if you can coordinate a sizable group of people whose hearts are all in the right place and who don't mind eschewing the public glory for the sake of doing some good in the world. Even just on a simpler, purely practical level, not only does the end goal of most any progressive ideological framework seek mass participation as part of its very fundamental nature, beyond a certain point, you simply need multiple people with a range of skill sets contributing to get big projects done. And that requires a certain amount of coordination and planning, or else it simply can't be done. Like it or not, there is a pretty hard cap on how much one person can accomplish on their own. Many hands make light work, after all. The thing is, the reactionaries, the fascists, the bad guys, they all know that too. And in a lot of countries, they're organized much more effectively than you might think. Every time there's some big right-wing event, whether it's something as completely mask-off as that infamous Unite the Right Charlottesville tiki torch rally, or just a tailgate cook-up outside every CPAC, actual fascists organize those and recruit massively out of them. Those people aren't just coming out of the woodwork randomly. They work together cohesively to spread and defend their ideology. They also have propagandists and logisticians and people who go to rallies and protests ready, willing, and able to get into it with anyone they don't like the look of. The bad guys are coordinated. We should be too. Now, here on the far left, the very nature of the underlying ideology itself very often means that in any given org, there won't be a sole leader, or ideally, any hierarchy at all. Why the vanguardists and the Leninists and other authoritarians, even if they are supposedly progressive, are bad and wrong is an entirely different conversation I'm happy to have at some point later. But suffice to say, in a good anti-fascist org, you won't have a boss. Now, just because there's no one officially in charge, you'd have to be willfully ignorant to think that makes Antifa not an organization. And doubly so if you claim to be a proud leftist and that's your excuse for why you don't want to even look into how you could get involved. Furthermore, just because a lot of anti-fascist stuff is highly decentralized doesn't mean it isn't connected. Here in Australia, I can and do talk with people from all over the world about this sort of stuff. Progressives embrace a lot of internationalism. 150 years ago, if you wanted to send a message to a friend or colleague in a different country, it would usually mean waiting a month or two and you'd better know a couple languages. Nowadays, if nothing else, fortunately, we've got the technology to communicate just about instantly between almost any 2 points on the globe if we want to. Similarly, using that internet connection you have if you're ever watching this, you can find out where the anti-fascists in your area operate out of. Usually, they'll run all sorts of public events, educational classes, discussion forums, and so on, where you can go in and hear more about what they specifically do. Check your town or city's local social media pages for announcements. And if you know of any left-wing protests or demonstrations going on, someone will probably have a table or a booth off to the side who will be able to give you some useful information to take a look at if you're interested in learning more about who does what near you. and I trust you're all smart enough to figure things out from there, so I'll leave that up to you. The only instruction I'm giving here is at least take a look into what your local Antifa groups are doing, because it might just be something you could contribute to. If what they do ends up sounding pretty good to you, which I would hope it does, ask how you can help. Get involved. Just so long as you remember to use your common sense, it will be fine. I'm not asking you to find any group of black bloc ninja cosplayers to go punch on against the cops with for no reason. I'm not asking you to take up arms and start building barricades in the streets anytime soon. All I'm saying is that Antifa is a thing, a real tangible thing that does something important. It's not just a vague ideology. Antifa isn't just every nominally left-wing person. Antifa isn't just everyone who shows up uncoordinatedly to protest against something every now and then. Anti-fascist action is a coordinated, militant, worldwide effort to oppose something very bad that actual people really do. Anyone saying otherwise is wrong. If any two online types try to tell you Antifa isn't a thing, or that it's just a matter of simply thinking that the reactionaries on the right are bad, send them this video and frankly, tell them to either get involved and pull some weight, or get out of the way and stop dissuading others from thinking there's nothing they could be contributing to out there.
Once again, my name's Card, and if you've gotten something out of this video, feel free to subscribe to this YouTube page, or take a look at my other videos. A fair few of them are on similar topics. Thank you for listening. Goodbye for now.